Hi, Gender and Women's Studies students. This is Mary. As promised, I'm making a short video to talk a little bit about the first paper. And one of the reasons I'm making this video, which I don't normally do, is that our class is a little quiet. And I think that either this means people are uncertain about some of the concepts and requirements, or people are tentative to talk and really say what they think. So I hope that it's neither of those and everybody's just super busy, but if it is the former, that we're tentative about the comments, etc., hopefully, or because the concepts are difficult, this will help a little bit. One of the most important takeaways from the first two chapters in Gender and History is to think about gender as a category of power and a certain set of behaviors, of performances that are imbued with power more or less. Gender navigates power. Sex might be the biological components of a body, and we are actually not very interested in that. We are interested in gender and the power in those gender categories. For example, when you think about gender as power, as a category of power that delineates power, think about the difference between the kitchen and the boardroom. One connotes a male kind of gendered category and the other a female. And one has a certain kind of domestic power, but not a public sphere power. And the boardroom just connotes, Wall Street, money, dominance, etc. So the kitchen or the boardroom, those are two distinct kind of iconic places in our culture, but they designate power, different types of power. One is feminine, one is masculine. Another one would be a science lab or the nursery. So the nursery, I'm thinking of baby nursery, is one kind of category of power. What kind of power, financial, personal, institutional, do we think of when we think of nursery? And what do we think of science lab? So different kinds of maleness and femaleness, male, female, different kinds of power. Another example that came to mind this morning was the mom and pop shop or Wall Street. Again, masculine, more feminine, a little bit. There's pop in there, but there's still the mom, and that's the low key, kind of less power than Wall Street. So try to think not so much or only about men and women, but categories and how they're gendered and what kind of power they have. And apply this to the world around you. And I would start with your own life, looking at the different categories of your own day-to-day existence and the larger world that you see, and see where gender organizes power, or how power organizes gender. They work together. And then extend that to the larger world around you. So first, maybe understand the concept in your own life, in your own culture and country, and then kind of extend and move to see how gender as a category of power is structuring the world and structuring individual communities as well. So that's how I would start thinking about that concept. For paper topics, you can go into history, you can look at a specific country, you can look globally, but I would try to think about gender as a category of power, as a category of meaning while you're thinking about your paper. Some topics that came to mind, a nice one is always maternity leave, looking throughout different cultures and countries to see the differences between maternity leave, maybe looking at that and female mortality, education, what kind of quality of life is associated, and power, political or economic power, might be associated with maternity leave and paternity leave, kind of making that biological ground more equitable. A good paper topic might be education and the number of children a woman has, looking at that tied to mortality. How long do people live? Longevity. There are really stark statistics about that. The fewer children you have, the longer you are likely to live. The more education you have, the longer you are more likely to live, etc. What pockets of the world are most problematic in that area? Something that interests me right now is how religion uses gender as a category of meaning and power. And we're looking a lot at Islam, but also Christianity and Judaism. I'm a Buddhist. I have been for 30 years now, even that religion uses gender as a category of meaning and power. So looking at how those things play out, not necessarily in the United States, but around the world. So I hope that helps a little bit, and I hope to see some more discussion in the discussion board about both current events and also about your thoughts on your paper. So thanks, and have a good weekend, everybody.